do you think Netanyahu is going to form the next government?
I think yes, under duress. It's really not. He's going to try to form the next government. The question is whether this government is going to survive and be able to meet the challenge, both the security challenges, the real harsh economic problems that are facing us as facing the rest of the world, and the social issues, which are very high on the agenda of this election campaign. For that, he needs a broad government, a government, I would say, of national unity, or in return, an emergency government. Now, an emergency government can only come about if the security situation on Israel's borders, I'm talking in the north in Syria, I'm talking about the whole question of the Iranian threat, both the terrorists as well as the nuclear, and any kind of major upheaval in Jordan or in Egypt, that could be the backdrop against which he could form an emergency government for a short period of time until the threat is removed, and then call for a new election. Otherwise, it will be a stalemated government, a government that will find it very difficult to pass the budget as it needs. And therefore, I don't think he should go to war because of that. But I think if the security situation deteriorates, as a result of what is happening around us in the Middle East, that will put the issue of national security back on the agenda, an issue that was the hallmark of what Likud was offering during the election campaign.
And what's the message from the Israeli public to the politicians tonight?
I think it's a message of we had enough of the old politics. Now you have to cater to a new generation, a younger generation, restless, jobless, sometimes hopeless, who want to see a change. The Israeli political system, as it is, in a whole, it was moving to the center. They're not for the extremes right and not for the extreme left. And this is an opportunity, actually, for Netanyahu to reinvent Likud. Likud has to be reinvented as the real, truly centrist party, catering to the middle classes on the one hand, and at the same time safeguarding Israel's national security interests and trying to move the political process ahead. But in order to do that, you need a critical mass. You need to unite all those splinter parties, because the more the political system is fragmented, the less you can actually enact policy. And Israel today, and in the foreseeable future, with the mounting threats that we see it, with the very critical role that the United States has to play in the relation with this, cannot afford to do nothing.
And if Sharon could comment on Kadima, what would he be saying about Kadima?
Who?
Sharon.
Sharon would say, well, I didn't pray for this baby. This is not the party that I intended to do, and that definitely the fact that it splits up, it's also an indication that this party was actually created by Sharon, and Sharon was the living spirit of the party, and they weren't able to make the transformation after Sharon left the stage and establish a real centrist party with a real ideology of a centrist party and with leaders to lead it. That's why it's split up. And it's also a reflection on the fact that, the split of Kadima, the disintegration of Kadima to splinter parties, some of it Lapid took with Yesh Atid, Tzipi Livni took it with her Tnuah movement, some went back to labor. That's a result of the void of leadership today in Israel.
And Yesh Atid predicted to get 19 mandates.
No, I don't think he foresaw it. I think he overdid his father. When he established the centrist party, Tommy established it, he got 15, and he gets now, according to the exit poll, I'm very careful about that, 19 mandates. But that shows the extent of protest, the extent of, I would say, the outcry of this new generation, young and educated, but really not seeing the kind of future they want, to sell to the politicians or to the existing parties. You have to change. You have to move to where we are. We are not going to move to where you are.
And just finally, what are the headlines that are going to be in the newspapers tomorrow? What's the headlines tomorrow?
I think the headline would be a major setback for Likud, and a major setback for Netanyahu in establishing a government. Now, or to say the elections are over, the real battle starts now.
And what do you think Perez Shimon Peres? Is he going to intervene?
I don't know. Look, he had this time, when he came out, and intervened. And if he feels that there's a parliamentary crisis, and it's an inability after a while to establish a government to that, he may intervene and he may try to throw his weight, if that is the case. Unless, I would say, Netanyahu supersedes him with some action of some revelation of a major national security threat developing either on our northern border or with Iran, which says we have to rally around the flag, stop everything, call for a government of national emergency, reshuffle the cards in the deck, and then start afresh.
Okay, thank you very much.